Yes. So today we're gonna study about the Indian Contract Act. Yesterday we saw some difference between act and law. Yes, so chalo fatafat se let me know in the chat box what is the difference between law and what is the difference between act, so that today when we begin with Indian Contract Act we clearly know what an act is. Yes, so let me know in the chat box what do you mean by the term act and what is law. So basically let me know the difference first. What is the difference between act and law? Come on, hurry up. Yes. Act is a baby of law. Good, Mansi. Act is signed by the president. Okay. Come on. More descriptive answers. Law is set of rules and regulations. I need the difference between act and law. Law is set of rules and act approved by the law. Perfect, Grace. Law means rules and act means implementation of law. Harsh, you're going wrong. Act is approval. Okay, Sahil, somewhere on lines. Yes. Act is formed by law. Harsh, you were not present yesterday. Act is formed by law. Law means rules and regulations. Act means implementation. Sharwari, does act means implementation? Weren't you present yesterday? Law is rules. Act is formed by law. Law is set of rules and regulations. Okay, I am asking you guys for the difference. What is the difference? Once again, I'm going to repeat the difference for you guys. Just understand this properly. Okay? Law is set of rules and regulations. When these set of rules and regulations are categorized, are put on a sheet of paper, and this sheet of paper is called as bill. Okay, when all the rules and regulations are in a written form and put on a sheet of paper, it is called as a bill. Now this bill is been dropped into both the houses of the parliament, called as the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. When the bill reaches the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, a lot of brainstorming is done. They read the entire bill, they give their points on it, they give their comments on it, and then they pass, right? So when the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha approve the bill, does it become an act? No. One more step is required. After that, you require the president to sign the bill. The president is going to sign the bill, and then after the president's sign, it becomes an act. So act basically is a set of rules and regulations only, but the approved set of rules and regulations, the one that has been approved by both the houses of the parliament with the accent of the president, it becomes an act. Yes, so law, to become an act, it needs to be approved. So ma'am, do we only have to follow the act, or do we also have to follow the laws? Laws also have to be followed. If you do not follow the laws, you'll be seen behind the bars, or sometimes you'll have to pay the fines and penalties. Act is something that is categorized. Act is something that is more specific, right? So laws are general. Act is something that is more specific plus approved. Yes, specific and approved. So Indian Contract Act, what do you think will be present in the Indian Contract Act? What is it going to talk about? Come on, let the answers flow. What do you think is going to be present in the Indian Contract Act? Formation of contract. Okay, contracts, business organizations, about Indian rules and regulations. Okay, see, every act, whatever act is going to be, it's going to be about rules and regulations. I want you all to be specific. What is going to be there in the Contract Act? What is going to be present in the Contract Act? Properties, elements of a contract or an agreement. Okay, Swanand, going right. Rules that should be followed in India. That is Act. I want to know what is Contract Act. The rules to be followed in a business. Grace, yes, on the lines. Yes. Okay. All right. Students, every single day, unknowingly, you enter into various contracts. Okay. You don't even know when are you entering into a contract. So entering into a contract does not always means to have those big papers, to read those papers, putting signatures, only that are not termed as contracts. Every single day you enter in a contract when you say a shopkeeper, please give me 2 packets of biscuit. Every day you enter into a contract when you ask a pizza delivery boy to deliver you a pizza, right? So there are various contracts that you enter in your daily lives. All the transactions, all the payments, or all the transactions that you make in your daily life are called as contracts. Yes. So today, if I tell you, I want to sell my house to you guys, right, at so and so amount, is this a contract? Yes, this is a contract. Yes. So contract is something that is a agreement between two parties to buy or sell something. Yes. So when there is an agreement between two parties, it is called as contract. What do you think is going to be in the Contract Act? All the business transactions that happen, they are contracts. So in order to form rules and regulations, in order to know the rules and regulations about all the business transactions, you need to understand the Indian Contract Act. Yes, whenever you will do business in India, all the contracts, all the transactions you will enter into at the commercial level, they are going to be subject to certain rules and regulations, and those rules and regulations are stated in the Indian Contract Act. Are you getting the point? What do you mean by Indian Contract Act? Or rather, what is going to be there in the Indian Contract Act? Yes, basically it is going to have everything that is required to have a valid contract, to have a acceptable contract. Yes, all the rules and regulations to make up a contract are going to be there in the Indian Contract Act. Then be it any transaction, be it any kind of business transaction. Sorted hai? Yes. Okay. Now, I'm going to write a series and then let's see the meaning of it. Okay. Firstly, let me use yellow so that it's more visible. Proposal or offer. Then acceptance. Promise. Agreement. Legal enforceability. Contract. Now, firstly, to reach to a point of contract, you'll have to go to a series of things. So first, let's understand one by one. First, proposal or offer. Okay? For every contract, firstly, there has to be some kind of proposal, some kind of offer, right? So when you ask out, that is a proposal. So I don't think so anybody doesn't know the meaning of proposal. I think from standard 4th you know the meaning of proposal. Here, not only that kind of proposal what you guys are thinking is included, also those proposals which happen in the business world, which happens in the commerce world is included. Okay, so basically more of we are going to focus on the proposals that happen in the business world. So proposal is anything when you ask somebody to either sell out something or to enter into a agreement is a proposal. So when you are asking out somebody for something is called as proposal or it is called as offer. Okay? When proposal gets an acceptance, when proposal gets an acceptance, when the party whom you are proposing accepts it, then it becomes an agreement. When the party to whom you are proposing accepts it, then it becomes an agreement. So basically, I proposed you all guys that will you buy my house, right? When you say yes, it becomes an agreement. We both agree, then it becomes a agreement. Do you understand the word agreement? Yes, when both the parties agree, it becomes an agreement. So when proposal gets acceptance, it becomes an agreement. Yahan tak clear hai? Okay, agreement. Now I'll give you two types of agreements. Okay, now you got to tell me what is a contract out of these two. Okay, first agreement. Let me go orally for this. I promised my sister that in case you get 90% marks in your boards, I will gift you a phone. Yes. So that is one example. Tomorrow, my sister gets 95% in her boards and comes and asks me for a phone. All right. So now, when she asks me for a phone, do you really think I'm going to gift her a phone? No, I'm not going to gift her a phone. In case one, can she tell me that go meet my lawyer, I'll see you in the court? Can she tell me that? Okay, wait. Second example. Tomorrow, I put a request or I purchased something on Amazon. Okay, I purchased a TV set on an Amazon for rupees 40,000. I made the payment and 2 months have passed and Amazon has not sent me the delivery of the goods. Even after continuous follow-up, they have not sent me that TV. So can I take Amazon to the court of law? Now you got to tell me in which case can I file a case with the law. Okay, can I file a case with the court? Come on, let me know in the chat box. Kaun se case mein, in which case can I file a case? Or can I involve a lawyer? Second example, case 2. Very good. In case of Amazon, absolutely right. Only in the second case, I can file a case in the court of law against Amazon. My sister cannot file a case against me just because I didn't give her an iPhone or I didn't give her a phone, right? Why so? Because the first case was a social agreement. The first case was a social agreement and the second case was a commercial agreement. Do you get the difference? What is a social agreement? When you have an agreement in your relatives, when you have an agreement with your friends, that's a social agreement. When you have an agreement at a commercial level, that's a commercial agreement. Yes, so social agreements are not covered by the Indian Contract Act. Imagine if social agreements would have been covered, like the court of law, the Indian Contract Act, the rules would have been like very haphazard. You cannot have laws between family members and between friends, right? So social agreements are not covered by the Indian Contract Act. Only commercial transactions and commercial agreements are covered by the Indian Contract Act. Yes, so by the way, in both the cases, there were agreements. How? For agreement, you need two things. For agreement, you need two things. One, there should be a proposal, and second, there should be acceptance. Yeah? Yes. Bolo.
Ma'am, are we supposed to copy all this?
Yeah, you can take notes if you all feel like if you all need it, you all can take notes, but this is a basic description. In case you all want, you all can take notes. Okay. Agreement means proposal plus acceptance. Okay, so as I told you, to be an agreement, there should be a offer or there should be a proposal and that should be accepted. Yes, so in my sister's case, I gave her a proposal that in case you get 90%, I will give you a phone. Right? So that was a proposal and she accepted it and she got 90%, more than 90%. So that became an agreement. Yes. And in second case as well, I had made a proposal to Amazon, or rather Amazon had made a proposal to all the public to sell the TV set and I accepted that proposal. I made the payment and that also was an agreement. Both were agreements, but only one type of agreement will be covered under the Indian Contract Act, that is the commercial agreements. Social agreements are outside the purview of Indian Contract Act. Sorted? Yes. Have you understood this? That only commercial agreements are going to be present here, not social agreements. Okay. So proposal plus acceptance will lead to agreement. Okay. Now, for an agreement to become a contract, there should be legal enforceability. Legal enforceability. Legal enforceability means there should be some kind of legal remedy for it. There should be a legal remedy. Remedy, you all understand? Yes, a solution. There should be a legal solution to it. Like, suppose tomorrow something that you have paid for or something that you have promised for is not fulfilled. Even once the agreement was entered into, you can take the person to court of law. There should be a legal remedy. You should be in a position to take the person to the court of law. That is called as legal enforceability. When law will back you up, when law will help you in certain situations, when you are, when somebody is going to defraud you, or somebody is not going to fulfill your promise, even if you all have entered into an agreement. So when law is going to help you, when law is going to back you, when you have a remedy, a legal remedy, that's called as legal enforceability. Is it clear? Yes. So for an agreement to become a contract, there should be legal enforceability. Yes. So when it is accepted by law, when that particular agreement is accepted by law, it is called as legal enforceability, and then finally it becomes a contract. Then finally it becomes a contract. Do you get the point? Yes. So now let me make an equation for you. Contract. What is contract? Contract is equal to agreement. Agreement plus enforceability by law. Contract means agreement plus enforceability by law. So there should be an agreement plus that should be accepted by law. Then only it can become a contract. Now, what do you mean by an agreement? Agreement means agreement is equal to offer or proposal. Both can be used interchangeably. Yes, both are the same, proposal or offer, plus acceptance. Plus acceptance. Yes. So what is agreement? A offer or proposal plus acceptance. What is a contract? When an agreement gets a backup of law, gets an enforceability by law, it becomes a contract. Yes. So now do you understand the flow that we had made here? Step number 1, there should be a proposal. I propose you to sell a house. Yes, I am proposing to sell my house. When you accept it, it becomes an agreement. Yes, here we are not relatives, right? Yes, we are friends, but not in the eyes of law, right? So this is going to be a commercial agreement. When I'm trying to sell my house to you, it's going to be a commercial agreement. So I'm trying to sell my house, you are accepting it, that becomes an agreement. Okay. Now, for an agreement to become a contract, there should be legal enforceability. So tomorrow, if you are going to make me payment and if I'm not going to deliver my house to you, I'm going to say, ya fir main, I just flew away, I just fled away, I'm no more into existence, you can't find me anywhere. So in that case, what will happen? Then you can take me to the court of law, you can have a legal remedy for that. Then that is called as legal enforceability. So when an agreement gets legal enforceability, it is called as a contract. So step number 1, proposal, that is accepted, it becomes an agreement. When an agreement gets legal enforceability, it becomes a contract. So this should be fit in your mind: proposal, acceptance, agreement, legal enforceability, contract. This diagram should be fit in your brains. Yes. Then only you'll understand the actual meaning of contract. Generally, if you see, the word agreement and contract in your daily life is used interchangeably, but legally they are not the same. Agreements can be of various types. You can have an agreement with your father that father every month is going to provide you with your pocket money. But tomorrow, if father fails to provide you with the pocket money, if he's angry on you and if he says no pocket money this month, can you take him to the court of law? Even if you tell him, na, you talk to me, talk to my lawyer, he'll throw you out of the house. Get out. Yes, so don't tell him tomorrow that we are into a contract. That doesn't have any legal enforceability. Yes, so when there is legal enforceability, then only it becomes a contract. You cannot ask him to, you cannot compel him to pay you pocket money because you don't have any legal remedy. Yes, so that cannot be a contract. For a contract, there should be legal enforceability. In the eyes of law, it should be legal. Yes, is it clear? So proposal offer that leads to acceptance. Then acceptance ke liye, once it is accepted, it becomes an agreement. When agreement is backed up by law, when it gets legal enforceability, it becomes a contract. Yes, I'm repeating it so that it is fit into your brains. Now let's go ahead. Okay, we understood that what is a contract, but to make that dish contract, you're going to need a lot of ingredients. Yes, you're going to need many ingredients to make that contract a actual fulfilling contract. Yes, so now let's understand what are the ingredients or what are the essentials of a valid contract. Yes, so let's understand that one by one. Essentials of a valid contract. Your first essential. Firstly, to be a contract, we all know that there should be an offer and acceptance. Offer and acceptance. If there is no offer and acceptance, how can there be a contract? Both the elements should be present at the same time. There should be an offer as well as acceptance. Tomorrow, if you all come and tell me, ma'am, I'm going to purchase your house. Did I offer to sell you my house? No, so that cannot become a contract. Firstly, I'm going to offer. Secondly, then you can accept it. Or tomorrow, I just tell you that I'm going to sell you my house. Is that a contract? No. Both the elements should be present. One party has to make an offer and the other party has to give an acceptance. Then only it can become a contract. So the first main element required is offer and acceptance. Yes, then only there can be a contract. Yes, so there should be offer and acceptance. And now, right now, we had formed an equation. Offer plus acceptance is equal to what? Let me know in the chat box. Offer plus acceptance is equal to what? Agreement, great, fantastic. Yes, offer plus acceptance is equal to agreement. So can I call it, in place of offer and acceptance, can I call it or agreement? Yes, so basically firstly there should be an agreement. That means there should be an offer and an acceptance. That means there should be an agreement. Yes, when there is no agreement, there cannot be any contract. Two parties should agree on something, then only a contract can happen. So that is the basic ingredient of a contract. The second ingredient, there should be free consent. Free consent. Anybody wants to explain this? Can give me a raise of hand. Anybody wants to say about this? 1 minute, okay? Yes, anybody wants to talk on this? Give me a raise of hand. Come on. What do you think would be free consent? Yes? Anybody? Come on. Zaid wants to answer me. Yes, Zaid, go for it. What do you think is free consent? Consent from free will. Yes, Khushi, very good. Free from coercion, undue influence. Very good, Aditya. Yes, Zaid, go for it. Say. Zaid. Okay, Avni, go for it. Bolo, what do you mean by, you raised your hand, right? Or no?
No.
Okay, so your hand is raised. Put it down. Okay. Galti se ho gayla. Nice language, okay? Okay. Anybody, come on. Anybody? Okay, chat box may all are comfortable. Let me know in the chat box. Free to share your opinions. Yes, free to share your opinions. Okay, okay, okay. In case of contract, what do you think is free consent? Okay, I'll tell you what it is. So let's continue with the same example. I'm telling you, I'm going to sell my house to you and you got to pay me 2 crore rupees. And that, how am I telling you? I'm going to put a gun on your head and I'm going to tell you, you are going to purchase my house for 2 crore rupees. You have to purchase my house for 2 crore rupees. What will you do? Will you say a yes or will you say a no? You have no option. You have to say a yes, right? So is that consent free? That consent is not free at all. Yes. So to be a free consent, the opposite party, the party who is accepting, should freely accept it without any influence on that person. Yes, so I'm somehow not, if I'm trying to hypnotize that person to say a yes, or if I'm trying to put a gun on that person's head and to say a yes, or if I'm blackmailing the person to say a yes, that's not a free consent. To be a free consent, it should be absolutely free without any influence, right? So free consent is important. Tomorrow, if you do not purchase my house, and if I take you to the court of law that you promised to purchase my house, so I'm telling the judge, no, she promised to take my house and today she's not paying me the money. She has contracted with me and she's not paying me the money, right? If that is the case, if you can prove it, or you can easily prove it that no, that was because of coercion, there was a bullet put on my head, so I had to say a yes, I didn't promise to purchase the house, right? So in that case, if you could prove it, then court will be in your favor. So free consent is required to be a valid contract. Valid means a contract which is acceptable by law. Contract which is going to be acceptable by law is going to be free from coercion. Coercion means to force somebody. Free from undue influence. You cannot influence somebody. You cannot, mislead somebody. Yes, so suppose tomorrow you told a person, you agreed with somebody that I'm going to sell, I tell you that I want to sell a house to you, and tomorrow you'll get to know that the house was not in my name. I didn't own any house. Yes, so that's going to be misrepresentation, right? So that is also not a free consent. Okay, now next element, competency of the parties. Competency of the parties. Okay, competency of the parties means, can you make a contract with a child, with a small boy who is of 7 or 8 years old? Let me know yes or no. Can you do a contract with a child who is 7 or 8 years old? He's going to say yes to everything. Yes. Is he in a right position to take a mature decision regarding a contract? No. So he's not competent to a contract. Okay. Second example. Tomorrow you see a drunkard going in front of your house and you go and make a contract with him. Is it a valid contract? Yes or no? No, absolutely no. So if you are going to make a contract with a drunkard, with a person who is of unsound mind, a person who has gone mad, who has gone lunatic, who is of unsound mind, who is not in the right, mind, of unsound mind. Yes, so they are not in the position to enter into a contract. They are called as people who are not competent to enter into a contract. Next example, can you enter into a contract with a person who is an alien enemy? Alien enemy means a person of a country who is having a war with India right now. A person of a country who's having, the country which is having a war with India right now. No, absolutely no. That's an alien enemy. You cannot have a contract with that. Can you have a contract with a person who is behind the bars? जो जेल में है अभी. Can you have a person who's in the jail right now? Absolutely no. So these people are not in the position, they are not competent to enter into a contract. Who are competent to enter into a contract? The person who is an adult, who is 18 above, who is crossed his 18 years of age. So an adult can enter into a contract. Secondly, a person who is in the right mind, who is of a sound mind, can enter into a contract. Thirdly, a person who is not disqualified by the court to enter into a contract. Who all are disqualified by the court to enter into a contract? Firstly, a person who is behind the bars. Secondly, a person who is belonging to a country which is having a war with India. That's an alien enemy. It's called as alien enemy. Or foreign sovereigns. Foreign sovereigns means the people should not be of unsound, disqualified by law, and minor. Absolutely, very good, Aditya. Who's insolvent? Yes, even an insolvent, the person who doesn't have any money, who's bankrupt, you cannot enter into a contract with that person. Yes, so court will obviously have a doubt on you if you're entering into a person who has no money at all, who is bankrupt, right? So you cannot enter into a person who is, you cannot enter into a contract with a person who's gone bankrupt. Yes, so going ahead, we'll see what all is there. Okay, foreign sovereigns are people, you can say people of different country. Foreign sovereigns means the government of different countries. Okay, so there are certain restrictions of government of foreign countries to enter into a contract with normal individuals. Okay, so that is also not allowed for them. There is it's not allowed. There are certain restrictions on them. Okay, so they are enjoying that prestigious position, but with that they have certain restrictions of not entering into a contract with a common man of that also of another country. Okay, so foreign sovereigns, will study that ahead. As and more we go deeper into the points, we'll study that. Okay, we are just trying to understand how can a contract be a valid contract. Yes, let's go ahead. So I hope you all have understood competency of the parties. The parties should be competent. The ingredient which is required is competent parties. Yes, then lawful consideration. Lawful consideration. Okay, same example. If I tell you I'll sell you my house, okay, and you pay me in form of drugs, is that consideration lawful? I need not read the chat box. Obviously that's a unlawful consideration. The consideration, something that is paid back in return, should be lawful. Yes, if I tell you I'll sell you my house, but you go and murder that person, is that a lawful consideration? Absolutely not. For a consideration to be lawful, it should be either in form of money or in form of some other goods. That should be lawful. In the eyes of law, it should be lawful. It shouldn't be in the form of drugs or in any form of corruption. Yes, so the consideration should be lawful, then only it's a valid contract. Can I go in the court of law and tell judge that, see, I sold him the house, but in return he didn't give me the drugs, right? I'll be put behind the bars, right? So the consideration should be lawful. Okay, going ahead. Legal object. Can anybody raise your hand and give me an example of illegal object? Come on, illegal object. Raise your hand, okay? Or either directly just on your mic and talk. Yes, Mamta, go for it.
Ma'am, drugs and all.
Illegal object. So give me an example, like properly put it into a, example form. Illegal object of the contract. The contract object of the contract is illegal. Yes, go for it. Who wants to
go? Ma'am Grace.
Yeah, bolo.
Illegal weapons.
Yeah, that's
illegal
a word.
Imported weapons.
Okay, so you want to say that you entered into a contract to get illegal weapons into India, right? So
yes.
Illegal guns or illegal defense equipments. That's absolutely right.
Ammunition,
Here
yes.
the object of the contract is only illegal. It won't be accepted in the eyes of law. Yes, Kush, go for it.
Buying more amount of gold from Dubai and all.
Okay, so you mean smuggling? Smuggling? Yes, getting gold into India without showing it to the custom authorities, getting more gold into India without showing it to the government. Yes, from Dubai and all, you're getting gold and not showing to the Indian government. That's smuggling. Yes, very good. That's an illegal contract. Yes, Shruti. Some Shruti wanted to answer. One is Shrutika, one is Shruti. Bolo.
Ma'am, And common example is when somebody goes to take admission and the rank is not there, so they take under the table. I think that is also an illegal object.
Absolutely. The object of the contract is only illegal. I have entered into a contract wherein I am taking the admission in the college without actually having a seat allotted. Yes, by the management quota, as you all say. That is, yes, illegal, good. That cannot be taken to the court of law. Getting people into other countries illegally. Getting people into other countries illegally. Okay, so you're entering into a country without a visa. That's illegal, absolutely. But for contract there should be two parties. Here you alone are entering into that country. Yes, but if you are having a contract with some person to enter into a contract, if you are having a contract with some person outside country to take you inside the country, then that's illegal. Yes, women trafficking. Yes, very good. Rajveer, you were saying something?
Kidnapping.
Sorry?
Kidnapping.
Yes, a contract of kidnapping. If I'm giving a contract to somebody that go and kidnap somebody, that's a illegal contract. Yes, very good. So all these.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Dipti.
Ma'am, if we are not paying import duty on a good which we have purchased, then
That's
it can be
smuggling.
illegal.
Yes, it's illegal. You are contracting to purchase something on which you are going to not pay any duty or not show it to our government. Basically, not paying import duty means not knowing the government that you have purchased it. That's illegal. Tomorrow, if you're going to file a case against that importer, that court will ask you first, did you pay import duty on it? You cannot take it to the court of law. So things that you cannot take into the court of law and things that are illegal are not lawful. Yes, so it's not legal basically. Okay, so very good examples, very nice examples. Legal object, the contract for which you have formed. Yes, see, basically if I tell you I'm going to sell you my house and you're paying money for it, legal contract. Yes, legal object. But if I'm selling my house and asking you to do something illegal, that means the object of the contract is illegal, which is not allowed. Yes, so the object of the contract, the purpose of the contract, the purpose of entering into the contract. What do you mean by object? It means purpose. The purpose of entering into the contract should be legal, should be accepted by law. Yes, so legal object. Then going ahead, not expressly declared to be void. Not expressly declared to be void. Void means something that is not acceptable by law. Yes, something that is not at all allowed by law. So let me give you an example. If I'm getting into a bet, okay, if I'm having a betting agreement with somebody, today there's an India's match and I'm having a betting arrangement that if India wins, I'll pay so much and so much, or rather you will pay me so much and so much. That's a betting agreement. I hope you all know what a bet is. You all generally get into bets with your friends, right? So if I'm entering in a betting arrangement, not with my friend, as a commercial transaction wherein I'm getting into a betting arrangement with my strangers, with any kind of stranger, that is expressly declared to be void. In India, betting and wagering is not allowed. There's a ban on it. Okay, so that's expressly declared to be void. Something that is not allowed by the court of law, something that court is not going to accept, is called as void. Yes, so void means something that will not be allowed. So tomorrow if the person fails to pay me for that betting arrangement, if I win and the person doesn't pay me for that betting arrangement, I cannot take him to the court of law, because that whole thing is only void. It is illegal. Yes, so not the contract which you are entering should not be expressly declared to be void, that the government should not declare it to be void. Yes, then only it can be a legal contract. Getting the point? Yes, so if I'm getting into a betting arrangement, that is not a right or legal agreement, legal contract. Yes, then. So basically, this is linked with the government. Something that the government will say is void, or something that the act will say, something those rules and regulations will say is not allowed, is void. Yes, then two parties. Can I sell my house to myself? Can I say I'm going to sell my house to me only? Nobody is ready to take my house. It's okay. I'm going to sell it to myself. Is it allowed? No. There is the basic requirement of two parties. Minimum two parties should be present for a contract to happen. There should be a person who is the offerer and there should be a person who's going to accept the contract. So minimum two parties are required to make a contract. One single party cannot make a contract. Yes, people will laugh at me if I say I'm going to sell my house to myself. This is not, the line is also not valid. Right? Because minimum two people are required for an agreement or for a contract to take place. Okay? So, two parties. Then, intention to create legal relationships. Okay. Tomorrow, sir tells me, every month I'm going to pay you 50,000 rupees. Okay, every month I'm going to pay you 50,000 rupees, and that's a contract that we have got into. Okay. Tomorrow, if sir doesn't pay me 50,000 rupees, can I take him to the court of law? Can I take him to the court of law? Come on. No. Okay. Kush, yes. You want me to take sir to the court of law? Sir means I mean your economics sir. Yes. So yes, Kush, you think yes? Kush, on your mic and tell me, do you think yes and why? Okay, Shruti also says why, yes. Okay, why? Why yes? Come on. Kush, bolo. Why yes?
Ma'am, it's me, Harsh. Ma'am, you are in a contract, so you can take, sir.
Why? Which contract is it?
Contract may be legally enforceable. It's legally enforceable, so it's a contract.
But then we are husband-wife, na? You know that, right? Or no?
Ma'am, but you
you
are
have signed
also
a
a
contract.
teaching faculty at his academy, right? So if he
Okay, I didn't mean it that way. Not for teaching
It is kind
purpose.
of a professional agreement, so you can take him to the court.
Okay, so you all are taking
Exactly.
it professionally. I didn't mean it professionally. Okay, sorry, the example was wrong. I mean it. I wasn't a faculty at his place, and as a marriage agreement, I've asked him that I will marry you provided every month you're going to pay me 50,000 rupees. Is that a legal agreement? Now let me know.
No.
Yeah, absolutely
It's
no.
not now.
No, now it doesn't become a legal agreement. Okay, so both wise you all were right. Okay, so tomorrow if I am into his classes as a professional teacher, and for that if I'm taking 50,000 rupees per month for teaching, and then that he doesn't provide me, then I can take him to the court of law. Okay, so yes, right. So you all are right here, but you're business partners. So that way I cannot take him because we both are at the same level. Partners can't take to the court of law. Okay, there's no obligation to pay other partners. Partners मिलकर दूसरों को pay करेंगे. Okay, so yes, okay, so getting the point. So here I cannot take sir to the court of law because basically there was no intention to create any legal relationship. Right? Legal relationship, as you all said, would have been when I would have given an example of a professional arrangement wherein I am teaching, and if he doesn't pay me, then I can take him. So that is a legal intention. Okay, so I am teaching in the class and he's the boss and he has to pay me. That's a legal relationship. Yes, but as a marriage relationship, that's a social relationship. So there I cannot sue him. Here, yes, I can sue him. Okay, so that's the difference. So intention of the parties should be to have a legal relationship. So tomorrow, if we take your fees and if we don't teach you, if we stop teaching you at all, you all can sue us. Okay, you all can sue us because there is a legal relationship between us. You all have paid us for the coaching. So there is a legal relationship. The intention, when we took your fees, the intention was to create a legal relationship. Yes. So both the parties should have an intention to create a legal relationship. Okay. Tomorrow, me and my friend enter into a contract that The contract can be like tomorrow, if you get meal for me, I'll pay you so much and so much. Okay. So now here understand, if both the parties are taking it legally, then there is an intention to create legal relationship. If in my mind I'm thinking, she's my friend, I just joked that I'll pay her, and that friend is taking that no, it was a legal relationship, you told me that get me food and I'll pay you for that food, then there can be a problem. So both the parties, the thing is, both the parties should be with an intention to create legal relationship, then only it can become a contract, not any one party. If one party is thinking it's a legal relationship and other doesn't accept it as a legal relationship, then it doesn't work. Both the parties should have an intention of a legal relationship. Getting the point? Yes, the intention should be to create a legal relationship. Then certain formalities for a valid contract. Certain formalities to be completed to make a valid contract. Now, certain contracts are such that they become valid only if those formalities are completed. Now, let me tell you, a contract can be oral, it can be written as well. So, oral contracts are also contracts and written contracts are also contracts. It's just that written contracts will be easily passed with the court of law, by the court of law. Okay. Now, formalities in the sense, if you are entering into an insurance contract, like tomorrow, if you purchase a life insurance policy and if you enter it orally, that's not a valid contract. For an insurance contract, it is compulsory that it should be a written contract, a contract in writing. Then only it can be a valid contract. Yes. So, formalities in this case is to have a written contract. If that formality is completed, then only it can be a valid contract. Yes. Second example. Tomorrow, if I tell you that I'm going to sell you my house and I do not give my property papers to you, I just tell you I'm selling you my house, I take your money and done. Orally, we have a contract. Is that a valid contract? No. For a immovable property, properties like house, property like buildings, property like land, that they are immovable, that do not move. For an immovable property, it is compulsory that all the sale purchase contracts are registered. So until and unless you do not register that contract, it is not a valid contract. Yes. So tomorrow, if I tell you I want to sell you my house, firstly, the thing that you're going to ask me is for my property papers. Yes. So that's going to happen simultaneously. Here you sign the property papers and by this hand you're paying me cash. Right. So there should be certain kind of registration, certain kind of formalities for a contract to be legal, for a contract to be valid. Yes. So that is given in law. Which contracts require what formalities. So once you complete that formalities, then only that agreement converts into a contract. Otherwise, it cannot become a contract. So I selling you my house, I'm proposing you to sell my house and you accepting it, agreement ho gaya. Agreement is done. But for it to become a contract, the formality required is that, and plus it is also enforceable by law, okay? But the formality which is required is that it should be registered. Only when it will be registered, it will be valid in the eyes of law. And then only there can be a legal remedy for it. Yes, so getting the point of certain formalities. The examples, two examples that you have here is, one is insurance contract that should be compulsory in writing, and the other is immovable properties that should always be registered to be a valid contract. Yes, going ahead. Just 2 more minutes, guys. I understand you all are sitting from a long time. Just last point, okay? Possibility of performance. Possibility of performance. Here. Tomorrow, I tell you, take admission with a class. Okay? Take admission with a class. And I tell you that I'll go to the ICI and you do not have to give the exams. Okay? You do not have to give the exams. We'll pass you. Yes? Is it possible? People who know ICI well, do you all think is it possible? Yes? Is it possible here? 1 minute. Let me just open the chat box and let me see your answers. No. 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 Absolutely no. Here, that is not possible. Why? Because this possibility is not present. right? It is not possible for me also to go to the ICAI and tell them that please pass these students. So whatever you're going to pay me, I'm doing a fraud for that, right? So that is, there is no possibility of performance here. Tomorrow if I tell you, pay us, we'll take a round to the moon, we'll take you to the moon, that's not possible. Yes, if there is a contract with a doctor, okay, the doctor says, do one thing, you pay us and we'll get your patient back to life, a dead patient back to life. Is that a possibility? Absolutely no. So that cannot become a contract. Yes, so even if the doctor says, and even if you accept and you pay the money, that's not a contract. That cannot be called as a contract, because there is no possibility of performance. There is no possibility of performance. Yes, so there should be possibility of performance, right? The boyfriends or girlfriends promise each other, hum chand tare tod kar laenge. That's social, right? Even if they do it on commercial terms, that is also not possible. So possibility of performance should be there for a valid contract. Lastly, certainty of meaning. Certainty of meaning. ठीक है? Now, here, I own 2 houses. Okay? And you all know that I have 2 houses. Okay? I tell you that I'm going to sell you my house. Okay? That's all. I just tell you I'm going to sell you my house for 2 crore rupees. Now, by saying this, I'm not stating it clearly. I'm just telling you I'm going to sell my house. By stating this, I mean I'm going to sell my Mumbai house and not my Pune house. Okay? And you people are considering it that I'm going to sell you my Pune house. Here, there is no certainty of meaning. Here, both the minds are not on one thing. There is no consensus ad idem. Means the meaning for both of us is different. We are not on the same page here. There is no certainty of meaning here. Yes, suppose if I tell you, I will sell you my house at a desirable amount. I don't tell you the amount. I just tell you I want to sell my house at a desirable amount. Okay, and you accept it. Is it a valid contract? No, it cannot be a valid contract because there is no certainty of meaning. There is no certainty of meaning. Yes, so for a contract, there should be certainty. We both should know which house I want to sell. So it should be clearly stated that I'm here to sell my Pune house and you should accept it that you are going to purchase the Pune house. I'm going to state it clearly that I'm going to sell my house for 2 crore rupees and you got to accept it that you are also going to purchase it at 2 crore rupees. Then the minds are matching, then we are on the same page, and then there is some certainty of meanings. Yes, then there is certainty of meaning. We both are accepting it at the same meaning. Getting the point? So for a valid contract, we both should be on the same page. We both should take the intention of the intention of the contract in a same way. Yes, then only the contract can be valid. Is it clear? Yes. Now, before leaving, one small sentence, and you all are going to tell me whether it is a contract or not. A agrees to sell his house to B. It's a MCQ. A, it is a contract. B, it is an agreement. It is an agreement. C, nor an contract nor an agreement. It will turn into a contract on sale. These 4 are your options. Chalo. A agrees to sell his house to B. Come on, chat box. some are saying C, some are saying B, some are saying B and D, some are saying D, it will turn a contract. Okay, D, C, C, B, 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 D, D. Great. This is what I wanted. Diversified answers so that I could explain you all well. Great. Okay, let me answer this. The right answer is C. It is nor a contract nor an agreement. Let's revise the equations once again. For an agreement, there should be a proposal and an acceptance. What is the line? A agrees to sell his house to B. Where is the sentence complete? Did I say B accepted it? For an agreement, what it should be? So those who have answered it as B, absolutely wrong. For an agreement, there should be a proposal plus acceptance. So here if you see, there is nor a proposal nor an acceptance. A had to propose to B, will you purchase my house? And B had to give his acceptance. Right? So A agrees to sell his house to B. Did I say, did B propose to purchase his house and then A agreed? Did I say that? You all cannot imply it. Right? Exam may be imply mat karna. You cannot imply it that way. The lines have to be complete here. Right? So B wants to purchase the house of A and A agrees to sell his house. Then that's a contract. Sorry, then that's an agreement. But once the price is also quoted, then that becomes a contract. For some consideration. There should be some consideration for a valid contract, right? We studied that. So, proposal plus acceptance becomes an agreement. A agrees to sell his house to B. B didn't ask for it. As I told you, I'm going to sell you my house. You all didn't even ask. You all don't even want it. What do I do with it? There is no agreement. Getting? And contract to dur ki baat. If there is no agreement, it cannot become a contract. Because for a contract, there should be an agreement at the first point. And that should be enforceable by law to become a contract. Those who said D, it will turn into a contract on sale. Okay. But did B ask for it? Did B ask for it? It is not an agreement only, so it cannot turn into a contract. Yes, so sale can be done by coercion also. That won't become a contract. There won't be any free consent. Yes, so the right answer is, it is nor an agreement nor a contract. Do you all agree now? Anybody still thinks that their answer is right? Come on, give me a thumbs up if you all still want to talk about it. Grace, you want to answer? Your hand is raised, or was it all yours?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Anybody wants to still, they still think that the answer is right? Anybody? Do you all agree? Come on, give me a hand raise now. Do you all agree? Did you all understand what it was? Give me a hand raise or give me a thumbs up best. Give me a thumbs up. That's more better. Give me a thumbs up. Great. Okay, so you all agree now. Yes? So you all agree now that for a agreement, both the parties should agree. Yes? Both the parties. Only A agreeing doesn't help. Both the parties should agree. Yes? So I hope you all have understood today's lecture. Anybody having any doubt? Tomorrow we are going to study the same thing, but in law's language. Yes? So we'll see what law is trying to tell on this. So this was legal only law. Jo maine padhaya, that was law only. Don't fear on that. But then tomorrow we'll actually understand what is given in the act about it. What is the legal language for it? Okay. So tomorrow we'll read the notes for it and we'll learn. We'll learn all the essential elements of a contract. Yes.
Ma'am, one doubt, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Tell me.
Ma'am, we see the posters, house for sale. So that a person has agreed to sell us.
Yeah, so that's an offer. That's an offer, right? But for an agreement, what is needed? Offer hai.
Yeah, acceptance.
Yeah, then only it will become an agreement. So I didn't ask, it is an offer. I said it is an agreement. And agreement, the equation is offer plus acceptance. Hai na?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubts, anybody? Please tell me. Directly bye. I didn't say the lecture is over.
Ma'am,
Okay. As it is over. Yes, Krishna.
if B agrees to buy A's house,
Yeah.
then it will to agreement, and then it will turn, and he will sell the house, and it will be a contract.
No. Even if before selling only, it can become into a contract. So even if B agrees, like if A wants to sell his house and B agrees to purchase the house at a price, it becomes a agreement and also a contract, because that is not a social agreement. I didn't say A and B are brothers, or I didn't say that A and B are husband wife. I didn't say all that. It's not a social agreement, right? So A and B are strangers and they have entered into an agreement, and obviously it is going to be acceptable by law. है ना? If they write वो that I told you, that immovable property के लिए you got to register it, है ना? So if the registration is done, that's lawful in the eyes of law. So if both of them agree, A also wants to sell, B also wants to purchase, both are on the same page, both of them, offer is made, acceptance is done, it is an agreement, and that agreement is not a social one, so it is going to be enforceable by law, so it will become a contract. So if I had written there that B has accepted to purchase the house, then it could have been a contract. You need not say it is an agreement. It is a contract directly, because it is going to be enforceable by law. It is not illegal. It is not between relatives. So it is going to be acceptable by law.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, Shrutika?
Ma'am, I just wanted to know that, as you said right now, कि social agreements are not considered as contract. But nowadays we see that many of the family members get into a contract. We can become partners, and if one of the partner refuses to say that it's all your loss, I am not able to pay it,
See,
then
then
can the another member take him into the court?
See, that is not a social agreement. See, not all agreements between relatives is going to be a social agreement. Firstly, there you see that brothers also go to the court of law. Then they have their family laws there. Yes, we are talking about Indian Contract Act. So I was saying that it is outside the purview of Indian Contract Act. Yes, and when family members enter into a partnership, then that becomes a legal contract. Okay, then that also can be checked out by the family laws. There, in Indian Contract Act, it has no place. So they have clearly stated Indian Contract Act do not take social agreements. Yes, you got your answer, Shrutika? So yes, there is a remedy in law, but not under Indian Contract Act. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I'm glad that you all liked the lecture. Yes, so keep coming daily, no absenteeism at all. And the dedication you all have promised. So no homework today. From tomorrow we'll have homework, okay? Okay. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you all liked the lecture. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye. Take care.